our next two guests are Jennifer Richwine and Professor Richard Williams. Jennifer is the Executive Director of Wake Forest University's Wake in Washington program, and Professor Williams teaches sociology at Notre Dame. Welcome to you both.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
So, Jennifer, as we're digging in about how schools and universities have responded to COVID in an effort to address gaps and, whether these approaches have worked, I know that Wake Forest is currently in the midst of a hybrid semester on campus. And so I wanted to hear a little bit more about the types of challenges that you all are experiencing and how students have reacted to, the university's communications around risk and cases that are happening on campus.
Sure, and I can speak more about the Wake Washington program here in DC than on campus, but I will say everything that we do is in tandem. So everything that we've done with the Wake Washington program has been very much in tandem with what's happening on campus. So we've done a little bit of a hybrid here in DC, much like there is on campus. And we follow all the same guidelines that the university is. We have a dashboard like a lot of schools do that sort of show how many cases we have. We're doing random testing of all of our students on campus and have been trying to make sure that we keep everyone safe. So we had to think about those kinds of things when we were considering whether or not we could do something here in Washington, D.C. Typically, students come here for the semester and they do internships 4 days a week and classes in the evenings. We only have 5 students here this semester. Typically, it's more like 20. So they are doing mostly virtual internships. One student is doing an in-person internship at the Pentagon, but our professor has actually stayed on campus. So while we usually have a resident professor with 5 students, we decided that professor would stay back on campus so she could teach in person with students there, and then our students do it virtually. But one of the things that we had to make sure we could provide is that these students here in DC could be safe. And so we have a partnership with a medical group here in DC where they can do virtual healthcare with them and telehealth, and they can get tested anytime they need to. And we also made sure that we could provide some of the same services they do on campus with mental health and counseling and things like that. So those are the things we really wanted to make sure is that we could provide a safe environment, but also provide a really good experience in DC.
Jennifer, what do you worry most about? That somebody tests positive and the whole thing gets shut down, or what?
Here in DC?
Yeah.
Or on campus? Well, here we have, one of the things we had to do was make sure we had a very quick way to isolate someone if they did test positive. So we have a very quick way to isolate students so that hopefully the other students wouldn't be affected. But if we need to quarantine everybody separately, we can do that in a really quick way. So that was one of the things we had to do. So we actually don't feel like if we had a case that we would have to shut this down